Hello folks, this is Ivan Steele and welcome to my video blog. Today we are going to be talking about obtaining a divorce in the province of Ontario. I'm specifically going to focus on uncontested and joint divorces. Contested divorces that deal with other issues such as child support, spousal support, property division are a large topic, or various topics, better left for another blog. So in terms of the uncontested and joint divorces, they simply refer to the dissolution of your marriage by a judge of the Superior Court of Justice. There are certain requirements, basic requirements, that you need to meet in order to obtain successfully this uncontested or joint divorce. The first thing that you have to keep in mind is that you have to have lived, you or your ex have to have lived in Ontario for at least a year before you can apply to an Ontario court to grant your divorce. Number two, you have to be separated for at least a year from your spouse, at least in the majority of the cases. There are exceptions to this rule of living separate and apart for at least a year, and that's for the cases of abuse and adultery, infidelity. It is very rare these days to use those two, adultery and cruelty, as the basis for applying for divorce because they're cumbersome, they are public record, and they involve airing dirty laundry in a public forum, which most people do not find very appetizing. There are also some evidentiary issues in proving this. There are issues potentially of collusion and so forth. But without getting into any specificity, I do not advise in most cases that clients take the adultery or cruelty route unless the evidence is very clear on the matter. Now, if you have been living in Ontario for a year, if you've been separated for a year, you can proceed either jointly, meaning you both sign the application for divorce, affidavits for divorce, and within 4 months or so, you will have your final divorce order. If you choose to be the applicant and serve the other spouse with the application for the divorce and all the other documents, you may do so. Now, keep in mind that the other spouse may be able to contest the divorce if there are any other outstanding issues. So, for example, if there is child support that needs to be paid or they want to talk about custody, they can file the answer to your application. And then the divorce turns from uncontested to contested. And obviously that changes the whole game. If there are children involved, you also need to make sure that there are adequate arrangements in place for the care of those children of the marriage, that child support is being paid, and you may have to provide a copy of the separation and parenting agreement to the court as well, depending on the circumstance. Another thing to keep in mind is that you are required to have the original marriage certificate available and to submit it to the court, either during the first or the second stage of your divorce. So if that divorce was if that marriage certificate was issued outside of Canada and it's not in English, you will also need a certified translation to go with it. Once your divorce has been granted, it takes effect 31 days later. So let's say if your divorce order is dated June 1st, you will not be able to get remarried until 31 days later, which would be the beginning of July, let's say. There are two court fees that you have to keep in mind when applying for the divorce. Number one is the 167 filing fee, and then there is a set-down fee due at the second stage of the divorce, which is $280. Both of these are exempt from HST, so I get small graces. Now, you will usually have to get a process server to take your application to court or serve it on the other party, unless you're willing to do most of the legwork yourself, but these days, who has time for that? In terms of my legal fees, if you decide to retain me, for the purposes of getting an uncontested divorce. They are $640 plus HST and disbursements. Disbursements would be things such as couriers, process servers, stamps, what have you. So anything that's not my legal fee and that's not the government fee. I hope that this brief overview has been helpful, and if you have any additional questions, please do not hesitate to contact my office at 647-342-0568 or take a look at our website at www.ivansteellaw.com. Thank you.